Okay, and we're cooking.
We are.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Montana from Clockwatch. This is our 7th episode, and we really appreciate it that you guys tune in and watch us all the time. We have a lot of very dedicated fans that we love you guys a lot, and we appreciate your support. And just so everyone knows, this, every week is a struggle for us because we don't have a cameraman. We don't have anyone else in the kitchen helping us. So when there's bad angles, you're not quite getting all of what we're doing. This is what you got. We're working with what we got here. So we decided for this episode to kind of do a little bit more of a self-reflection as a Be My Best Me, which is also my mother's page. You can go onto Facebook and like the page, and feel free to share stuff too. Feel free to share your recipes, your experiences.
I love my grand dog.
Dog recipes. Kidding. Anything that you guys want to share with us, we're more than appreciative to just hear what you guys have to say and hear your feedback. So this is, like I said, this is going to be a Be My Best Me, part of which is mental. And one of the many aspects of being healthy is your mental state. And for me personally, there's a lot of things that I have to do throughout the day to keep myself grounded. And what I eat is very important, and it plays a big part in that. So we'll get into more of that as we go. But go ahead and introduce yourself, Madre.
Hola. So yes, and I couldn't have said it better. My mentor, the person that helped me become a health coach, one of her mantras is, you can't outrun your fork. So I'm just going to throw that out there so that you can understand kind of where we're coming from. But absolutely, 100%. If you don't take the time to take care of yourself, you will pay the price for it. So, as much as it seems selfish and perhaps a lack of humility, honestly, unless you plug in, unless you charge your battery, you've got nothing else to give. So you really, really, truly, this is not a selfish thing. This is, I need to take care of myself. And I know when my body tells me it's time, that's what I have to do. So absolutely, honey, I'm proud of you first of all, for knowing it, understanding it, implementing it, and let's have at it.
Let's do it. Before we get into it, I'm going to very nicely reprimand my dog.
I'm going to let the dog out. So I don't know if Daisy's done the same thing as my two did, but it was raining here. I'm in Westchester County, New York. It was raining and miserable. And my two dogs looked out of my balcony, looked at me, and went back to bed. Eventually, I had to force them to actually go outside. They're coming out now, and they still have their sweaters on. I had to put their sweaters on. I took them outside. And they walked out. They did a little something. They came inside to the apartment complex garage, and they actually pooped inside the garage because it wasn't raining there.
What is with that? She does the same thing to me. It's rain.
Whatever. I said, well, you know what? You're a dog. You get it. Why go out in the rain and poop when you can be not outside and whatever? I'm going to pick it up anyway. So
exactly. I hear you.
Crazy.
What are you making?
I'm making something I cooked very, very little on the stove. I'm actually just combining today. Very few things actually went on the stove, and they were kind of ancillary. This is a non-cooking kind of thing. I'm making a seafood ceviche, and I'm making a Virgin Mary to go with it. Virgin Mary is basically a Bloody Mary minus the alcohol, because, our episode today is about taking care of yourself, feeling good about yourself, rebooting yourself. I don't know. Did you go out the night before and do all the wrong things? I don't know. Did you just, eat badly? You went to a ball game and had a hot dog and maybe some fried dough, or maybe a whole lot of things like
beers.
Yeah. I mean, and then you wake up in the morning and go, that was a horrible idea. Maybe I do something better. That's what this episode is about. So this is about taking care of yourself, whether it's a brand new day and you just want to feel a whole lot better, or maybe you want to undo something you did. Because as a health coach, what I tell people is no matter what you did, we can fix it. Own it, admit it, and let's just move forward. just don't keep doing it. Just, you did it. Whatever. People make mistakes. It's why we're humans. We're not angels. We're just humans. So we make mistakes. So you need to learn how to undo the things that you did poorly. And, that's what we're going to do.
Tomorrow's a new day, right?
Today's a new day right now.
Well, I'm saying, if you screw up today, tomorrow's a new day.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be doing one of my favorite things, which is a tuna tartare. And not everybody loves seafood. Not everybody appreciates raw fish. I'm a huge fan.
Isn't it funny we're both doing raw fish?
Yeah. I mean,
mine's not really raw, but yeah.
It makes sense. Yeah. Mine's legit raw, but it makes sense because it is something that it's good for you. Mm-hmm. And the highest calorie in it. I mean, I don't really know what's in tuna. What's in the wild sashimi? What would you say in half a pound?
Oh no, that's, in my program, and my program is like, believe it or not, less than 1,100 calories a day for people who are in the weight loss phase. And it doesn't matter if you're 6'4" or my height, 5 foot, it's the same program. And with this program, my expectation as a coach is that my clients lose a half a pound a day, half a pound of fat a day because they go into fat burn. And we would expect that tuna in that state, you'd have 7 ounces as a portion. So your lean and green, which would be one of the 6 meals throughout the day, your lean and green would have 7 ounces of that tuna, along with 3 actual servings of a green vegetable. Green meaning low glycemic, not butternut squash, but cucumber, celery, lettuce, green stuff.
I was going to do a Brussels sprout cabbage salad, but sometimes men don't listen when you ask them to pick things up at the store.
Really?
I know.
No.
It's
Did
just
you got an original version?
It's yeah.
Really?
Wow. It's okay. I'm not going to get mad about it.
And they say that daughters marry their fathers. I don't know how that could have possibly happened.
Yeah, well, if I could find someone as similar as Dad, I found him. So
you did. Yes, you did. Why I ordered mine from Whole Foods to be delivered here.
Well, Whole Foods is against the law in this house. We do.
Well, yeah, yes.
We do the fresh market.
And I would, if they were here, I would absolutely do that.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you guys don't have them down in the city?
Not here, not near me anyway.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go through with okay, this is my other thing. It doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a nurse, a doctor, you work at a bank, a pharmacist, a lawn maintenance person. I don't care what you do. Stay-at-home mom. Doesn't matter what you do. You need a break. You need a break. And that break to me, so I was 15 or 16, and I went to the doctor and to get my thyroid checked because my entire family has thyroid disease. And obviously I tested autoimmune, positive for Hashimoto's. And also I said to her, I get kind of sad. And she's like, well, you should write and do a journal, do this, do that. I'm like, I do that all the time. I still get sad. And she's like, well, then try these. And she just opened up a drawer of samples and gave me antidepressants. And that continued on throughout my life. I would go on one and I would gain a bunch of weight, which always made me more depressed. Or I would go on one and my mind would race. And I think I've gone through almost every single pill out there. So when a doctor, when I go to the hospital now, when they say things to me like, so what have you tried? Have you tried this? Yeah, I had a seizure when I had that. Okay, have you tried this? Yeah, that didn't work. Did you try that? Yeah, it's not working. It's not working, guys. It's not working. I don't want a pill. So I remember talking to you about this, and I said that to you, and you said, go shave your legs. Go shave your legs, go take a bath, and I guarantee you're gonna feel better. And I did. And that was one single step that I took in one day that made me feel a little bit better. So if you have a whole day of that, imagine how much better your week, your months, your years, everything else falls. I am not on currently any medication whatsoever, except for the ones for my liver to try whatever it has left of its maintenance. Other than my liver medication, I am on nothing for anxiety or depression at all, just because of the simple things such as I wake up and I make my bed. Anyone who knows me knows that I was so against making a bed because you're just going to mess it up anyways. But is it any way or anyways in that circumstance? Anyway? Anyway. You're going to mess it up anyway, so leave it a mess. But I started making it a little bit better. Got up, had tea, ate a little piece of something, felt better. Got into really comfortable clothes, felt a little bit better. Watched one of my shows, felt a little bit better. Cooked something I really wanted to eat, felt even better. Went for a walk. I mean, I could go on and on. My entire day, if I had a day of selfish BU, not really selfish, I won't call it that. I would say a day that you need, like you said, your bank account is empty. You have a certain amount at the beginning of the week. By the end of the week, your bank account is depleted, and you need to find a way to get your funds back up so that you can get through being a mom, being a teacher, being a pharmacist, doing whatever it is you do. We're still all fighting the same fight, and we're living the same life. Some of us better than others. We're still fighting in one way or another. We're suffering from physical ailments, chronic fatigue, chronic pain, a pain in the butt job. I mean, we all have something. So whatever that means to you, figure it out. And I can guarantee you the majority of people who are on medication for depression, you just might not need it. Maybe you do. That's not a problem if you do, but if you just might not need it. So this is just kind of our way of showing you what we do.
100%. So, one of the most gratifying things that I have found as a health coach coming from the pharmacy world in the retail sense, I would help people. People gravitated towards me because our family, as I said before, is a diabetic family. Not type 2, but type 1. And if we are type 1, we're either gestational diabetic or, in my case, some weird form of I can't tolerate sugar. It's just who we are. And because I understood it, because I had to live it, people came to me. And I had a massive amount of diabetics as patients at the time, patients. Now, my clients tell me they're off their medication. They're no longer diabetic. I can't tell you the difference it makes for me as a pharmacist and as a health coach to take someone who, instead of finding them the right meter, the right strips, the right lancets, helping them to understand their medication, helping them to track their blood sugar, look at their A1C. Now I'm saying, forget it. Make sure you eat every 2.5 hours. Make sure you weigh yourself regularly so I know where you're going. Call me. Stay in touch with me. Watch the sugars. Make sure you know what's got sugar in it. Glycemic index is huge. That's my life now. I'm getting people healthy instead of helping them to moderate, monitor, and really manage diabetes. Now they're healthy. It's huge, especially type 2. Type 1, of course, that's that boat sailed. But even so, that boat sailed, but that boat sail can go awry as well. We've seen that within our own family when, a type 1 rebels and says, I don't want to be diabetic anymore. That doesn't go through. Yeah. So, even in that sense, but, I know we're never going to get the type 1 off medication, but the type 2 is entirely a possible thing. And it's the biggest thing for me is knowing I'm getting people off medication rather than helping them to manage the medications. And I can tell you, and I know you and I are both kind of doing a dialogue here, I'm fibromyalgia. I live in constant chronic pain. I live in a situation where for a decade, nobody could diagnose what I had. It wasn't recognized back then. And I know now, since I've cleaned up my eating and done the right thing, I have way better days. I have more energy. I have less pain. When I go back to doing the things I did, I go back into those days of darkness, into fog, into pain. into staying in bed, in the couch. Don't make my bed. Don't wash my sink. Your kitchen sink is the center of your home. If your sink is dirty, and this is one of my rules, pointing out the rules, no garbage in my sink. If my sink is dirty, my kitchen's dirty. If my kitchen's dirty, my house gets dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make your bed. You're not going to get up and get dressed. You're not going to put your makeup on. You're not going to put your hair up. You're not going to put on something nice. And you're going to feel like a slug and a troll all day long. When you do that,
that's you. You need to put your hair up. You need to put makeup on. You need to get dressed. I know a lot of people like that. I do the opposite. I need to have comfies on. And I need to have my Giants blanket that you made me on my lap. I need my iPad. I need the office on. And I need to eat something that makes me feel good about myself, doesn't make me feel bloated, doesn't make me feel disgusting, and not worry about putting makeup on because I don't really like having to do it. I like to rub my eyes. So
it sounds like we need to know what works for each of us, right?
Yes, and I would love to know what works for everybody else too. Because
I would love to hear that.
Yeah, we can all learn from each other and find different things. And, hiking was a big deal. Going to the gym was a big thing for me. Tea sounds so stupid. And I know this, I'm not like one of those people who's into, not that there's anything wrong, I'm not making fun of you for essential oils, but sleepy time tea and there's this tension tea and all, it freaking works. It works for me anyways. I love it. I drink it all day long. I absolutely love this stuff. So it doesn't matter what it is. If it works for you, I have a diet green tea going.
I have Tazo Passion. I make it by the half gallon.
So good. Oh, I like Tazo. Mm-hmm. Me too. All right.
On our program, we do 64 ounces of fluid a day, minimum. So, and that's really not a lot, but it counts coffee. I mean, coffee's still a valid. And I learned this way late, even after what they taught us in pharmacy school, caffeine was supposed to be a diuretic. Newsflash, it's not. So coffee counts, tea counts, it's all counts for hydration. So if you're a coffee lover and you can handle it, go for it. If you're a tea lover and your body can handle it, go for it. You like herbal tea? Have at it. You just like water, like your dad drinks water, like, I don't know, he's a dolphin or something. Go at it. I mean, and he loves exercise. He loves to get on his bike and go where his GPS on his helmet doesn't even tell me where he's at anymore. Go for it. Everybody's different. I am not that person. I get on a bike and I fall and I hurt myself, and we won't even talk about that for you.
My hip is still fractured from doing that.
Yeah, no, that didn't. It went worse for you than it did for me. But every time I've gone out, I've fallen. Thank God I had the helmet on. I smashed the helmet. I still got a knot on my elbow. You got a fracture. Yeah, bikes. No, your dad.
Hip, rib, hip. Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. But also, some people can't have caffeine. I can't have coffee. I can't have caffeine, and I'm not supposed to be drinking this because it actually has 8% sodium, which I'm not supposed to have, and caffeine. But I'm not going to make it through the day because, as you can tell, I'm going to a Halloween thing with the children. So I am in an hour. So
are we cooking? Are we going to cook today?
We're cooking. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to start with. I should probably put it down so you guys can see. I'm going to start with the tuna for the chives.
Well, you're making.
And I'm going to wash my hands again just because I am making tuna tartare.
I love tuna tartare.
It's my favorite.
I love steak tartare, tuna tartare. Basically love things that don't get overcooked or cooked.
Or cooked, yeah. I can't even eat my, I had to stop eating red meat. If I can't have my steak rare, off the cow.
Like blue, yeah.
But yeah, blue, I don't want it.
I agree. And your dad still likes it overcooked, but that's another story altogether.
I changed all that. You didn't?
A lot of years of working hard, but his mom, God rest her soul, they didn't get great cuts of meat, and everything had to really be cooked. So his idea of meat was something that was a stew. It cooked forever and a day because that's what it had to be. Same with the chickens. They had that grew up on the farm, and when you're on a farm and you got chickens, you're not you're not putting those chickens in a stew pot at 6 weeks, like what you buy in the store. You're putting them in the stew pot after they're done laying 2 years later. And if you don't cook the daylights out of those chickens, nobody's going to be able to eat it.
And also they ate a lot of venison and a lot of rabbit and squirrel.
Oh, and you've got to really cook all it. You've got some things you've really got to cook. And I admit that. You've got to just cook it until there's nothing left to it. So, that's what he grew up with. That's what he knows. So, and yet he'll eat pepperoni and dried sausage and all of that, which is actually really raw meat. But he never understood that until we made it. And then he's like, what do we do to cook it?
You don't.
We put it in the refrigerator for 60 days and come back until the salt's done doing its thing.
Yeah, I didn't really know that was a thing. And just by the way, I'm not sawing this because that's the correct way to use this knife. I'm just doing it because it's very tender. And
you've got a nice knife. That's a good knife.
I'm just trying not to get it because if I just do it straight down, it's just going to squish.
Right.
So,
and I want to tell you a few of the things that I did in preparation while you're doing that.
Yep.
I have a lot of things that I did not cook. I mean, cook in the sense of heat. So what I took was a whole zucchini.
Okay.
And I cubed it. I sliced it. I cubed it, and I salted it real well. And so I think I've shown you before in other episodes of zucchini noodles. I did the same thing. I cooked this with salt, if you will. I softened it. I pulled some of the moisture out of it, and it just softens it. So I'm making a ceviche, and the ceviche really calls for cucumber. I don't love cucumber.
I don't either.
I can get over it, but I don't. I end up not eating it. But I love zucchini. I love the taste of zucchini. So I substituted with zucchini, but I didn't want the really hard crunch of the zucchini. So all I did was soften it, and then you can see there's liquid coming off of it. And, still sitting here. And so I did a few other things. I've got red onion. The recipe definitely calls for red onion. And one of the things I learned in Mexico is that you can really tame onion by soaking it. I don't like raw onion. I wish I did. I'm not one of those people. And but you can't omit it from this recipe because it needs the onion. It needs the bite of the onion. But the really raw bite of onion is too much for me. I taste nothing but onion for 3 or 4 hours after. That's just me. Not everybody's like that, I know. But if you are like me and you don't like it, you can tame it by just soaking it. So I've got onion soaking here, and I'm going to pour it off into the same bowl that I have the zucchini.
What about shallots? Aren't they a little bit more mild?
They're a little more mild, but they're not big enough, and they don't really lend enough flavor. And frankly, they're freaking expensive. Stinking expensive. Yeah. I mean, shallots are crazy, even if you can find them. And then there's a thing around here that's popular. I'm in Westchester County, and there's a lot of Latin-based cultures here, and they have this thing that's called chocolo. And if you're in the South, you know that it's really nothing more than hominy. It's just big, giant, giganto, whatever it is, white corn. But you do have to cook it. They don't tell you that on the package. But I went on Google and, whatever. Just 5 minutes in salt water and you have this. And I know it's not part of like a regular ceviche, but it's kind of, around here it's kind of the culture. It tastes really great. It's a little bit of glycemic index. I get it. But I'm not trying to lose weight anymore. So if I was to have a client watch this, for my clients that watch this, no, not in the beginning. Okay. That's not going to work.
Well, that's the other thing I was thinking too, is that normally I would do crostini with this. Mm-hmm. But again, like I said, the days that I'm really not feeling great, I kind of tend to get away from carbs and pretty much anything that makes me start questioning how I feel. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but.
No, it's 100% true. And I find with my clients, once I get them really eating clean and they start to incorporate things, myself included, your dad loves ice cream. First time he had ice cream after he started transitioning off program, he climbed into his chair and slept for an hour and a half. I'm like, that's what you get. You didn't get it before. Now you get it. You took it out of your program, out of your diet. Now you tried to incorporate it and you realize now it makes you feel like dog poop. So Either don't do it or realize that you're going to give up an hour and a half or 2 of your life that you'll never get back because you had 4 bites of ice cream. Is that really worth it? So the next thing that I did that really required no heat was I ceviche some fish. So what I've got here is some squid tentacles and some shrimp. And you can see they've completely become opaque. They've totally denatured. So here's the pharmacist coming out in me. Cooking, when you cook with heat, which is what most people understand, heat denatures protein. All right. So if you can imagine an egg, you take an egg, you throw it in a pan, it turns white from clear. You can also do that by dropping it in acid, right? If you take milk and you put it into your tea, after you put lemon in your tea, you've got cheese because it denatures protein in the milk. So this is not raw food. It's just simply denatured protein, just not with heat. So a lot of people confuse that and they think that ceviche is raw. It's not raw. It's just denatured protein with acid rather than with heat. And I got no problem with raw food. It's just this doesn't happen to be raw. So the other point with that, and I'm going to turn it over to you, is that the tentacles I had to do with heat. They do not denature. The protein is too complex in the tentacles, and they did not denature. So I did them with heat. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's the same thing with me because I'm putting lime in this.
Right.
So I need citrus.
A little bit, just a little, just to tighten it up. It's not going to really cook it. It'll just tighten it a little bit.
So I'm using this handy dandy.
Love it.
We're going to do, I should probably put it down.
Oh, I got to show you mine. Go ahead.
I need a camera guy. I'm telling you.
Yeah. There you go. Admitting we need a guy.
Well, okay. A camera woman?
Hey, a camera person. So I'm going to show you this. So your brother, Frank, gave me this. Look at this. It's a 2nd-degree lever. Same idea, but it goes in, and then you got a 2nd-degree. That's my physics lesson for today. Homeschool child. It goes in, and you got. How about that?
Love it.
Yeah, love it.
Fresh ginger.
Love that.
Yep, very easy. And for the longest time, I was using a knife or a peeler, and it really wasn't working well. It takes a spoon. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You just scrape it with a spoon. And I don't need too much, but I'm using a cheese, or actually I use it for garlic.
Little microplane. It actually started out being a woodworking tool. And somebody in the kitchen, I guess, that liked to do woodwork thought, why couldn't I use my woodworking tool in the kitchen? And lo and behold, who knew?
It's like the best invention ever.
Yeah, it worked better on food even than any wood project, in my opinion. IMHO. Love it. And you know that garlic or ginger or any of that, when you microplane it versus leaving it whole, it changes the pungency of it. It actually makes it more picante than if you left it alone. It breaks more cell walls and it releases more of the active ingredient. So you get more flavor if you microplane or, really finely, or even if you like smash it with the blade of your knife with salt, you'll get more picante out of it than if you leave it alone.
You can actually see the color of the, and also, by the way, this is sushi grade. I don't know if I said that or not. Sushi grade tuna. So you can't just get any tuna. It has to be sushi grade.
Which is why you went to Fresh Market. We'll give a little plug to Fresh Market.
We
always have awesome, amazing ingredients. You can count and then turning it over. And we know personally from a personal family member that if the fish or the meat or anything has been in the case longer than a few hours, it goes out at a discount to restaurants, homeless shelters, etc., so that other people can enjoy it without it being thrown away, but it is not being sold at retail. So when you go to Fresh Market on the East Coast, you know that you're going to get a product that's incredibly fresh and it's at a reasonable price. It's, certainly not deep discount, but when you're looking for that grade, deep discount doesn't come into the equation.
Very true. I'm just trying to make sure I have all of this. I think I do. Okay, so now this is 2 tablespoons of low sodium for my sake soy sauce. And 2 tablespoons of sesame oil.
Love it. Got to have your healthy fat. Without the healthy fat, all of this does not translate to nutrition.
That's it.
People can go too low fat and actually get to a weight that's lower, but not a healthy weight, not a weight that your body can actually perform. I know a person that passed away. Now it's been almost 2 decades ago, but he got super skinny and he was, he walked everywhere. He did everything right, took a lot of supplements, did all kinds of things, but he used so little fat that he actually came down with cancer that took him out because there wasn't enough of the fat nutrients in his body because his fat content of his diet was too low.
It's so crazy how that's a thing because I don't know how many people know this. I have cirrhosis because we're a family of failing organs.
Yeah.
And my diet had to change drastically in the interim of getting a transplant. So you go in there and you're expecting them to say, to stay away from this, stay away from that. And she goes, you've lost a lot of weight. And I'm like, well, I used to be 150 and I was lifting heavy weights. Now I was down to I think 110. And she said, you can't fight this without body fat. You can't fight this. Your body, you need to eat. She's like, I don't, at this point, eat whatever you can keep down because I wasn't able to keep any food down at the time. And you remember how skinny I got. I got to 98 pounds and they were like, we're going to get a feeding tube in you if you don't start really eating. So yeah, I mean, you need when it sounds super cliche, but when they say everything in moderation, they really mean it. And it doesn't have to be big portions. It's everything in moderation. Salt, protein, fat.
Balance. Our program is, that looks beautiful. Our program is even calories, even grams of protein, even grams of carbohydrate, and a percentage of healthy fat every 2.5 to 3 hours. And your blood glucose stays like this. It shuts off your insulin pump. It's not, it's delicious, isn't it? Oh, I love it. I love tuna tartare. I don't need a crostini. I just eat that stuff with a spoon or a fork.
Oh my God.
Eat it with my fingers if that's what it came to. Mm-hmm. I love it. And you know what? It doesn't keep very long in your refrigerator, but it will freeze. So if you make extra, freeze it. Don't let it go brown and get nasty. Put it right in the freezer.
That's like when people
would pound it. So,
That's like when people talk about having extra wine, a leftover wine. Get out of here.
No.
Extra of this.
No, that's silly. Some things are just silly.
Silly. Go ahead. Finish your...
So our program is, if you're going to do 15 grams of carbohydrate, you do 15 grams of protein, and you balance it with 3 grams of fat. That's what we do. So it keeps the insulin pump off. It helps people really get rid of the inflammation. It helps your blood sugar. When your insulin pump is off, you stop the waxing and waning of, oh my God, I feel so good. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I'm so tired. You're up, you're down, you're all over the board. So when we do this, it stops that. And you start feeling energetic because that's gone. So anyway, I want to show you one of the ways that I do that in one dish. So what I've got are 2 chopped Roma tomatoes, just Roma tomatoes, because in New York State, tomatoes are great in August, and then they're not anymore at all. But Roma tomatoes are meaty and they add some texture, and they may not taste like a lot right now, but they are the vegetable portion or part of it in this dish. So what I'm going to do, I bought 2 zucchini because why buy 1 zucchini?
Who does that?
And I'm not going to use it all, but I cooked it all with the salt. Where's the camera? That damn cameraman, he moves all over the place. I'm just going to throw in about an equal amount of this salt cured, if you will. Oh, hell.
I was waiting for that. I don't know. Is she seriously just trying to measure that out?
And then I've got 1 minced jalapeno. He wasn't a real hot one. I tried him. I want real hot, so I'm gonna go in the whole thing. If it's real hot, I wouldn't have, but this guy, I don't know, he didn't have a long shelf life. So, and then I bought a bag. We got a really great store around here, which there's only 3 of them. I'm not even going to mention it. But I bought a bag of mixed seafood. Around here, the Latino community does a lot of this stuff. And this is just mixed, already cooked seafood. And I did it because there's scallops in here. There's a few little shrimps, but there's octopus. There's just a whole lot of really cute, I think this is cuttlefish. I'm not even sure. I'm going in with it. Anyway.
There it goes.
And it goes. And then, I've got my soaked onion, which is way milder than the original version because but you need it. You do. You need the picante, pungency, whatever you want to call it.
Bite.
Yeah. I'm going to eat this for 3 days, by the way. I just want you to know by the size of this bowl. But look at the color already. Look how pretty it looks. I mean, you need it with your eyes too, right? I mean, I don't consider this a diet. I consider this a lifestyle. So, if it's going to be a lifestyle, it needs to work. It needs to be pretty. It needs to be fun. It needs to be something I look forward to, not just like, oh God, I got to have another pan of dry tuna with nothing.
Yep.
So I'm going to go in with, these are my cooked tentacles. I actually did cook them.
Okay.
And I'm going to go in with the whole thing. You see how it's really pretty pink? So this is what I did was I soaked these guys in lemon and lime juice overnight in the refrigerator, and that's how they became denatured. I took some of that and I cooked the tentacles because they did not denature. To be honest with you, I don't want squishy squid. So that whole thing is going to go in. I love the color because the squid gives it that little, purple. And if you go to a Latino restaurant and they call it tiger milk, that's what tiger milk is. It's what the ceviche sat in. They call it tiger milk. There's a Latin term for it. I would massacre it. And there are people in my building that are Latino, and I couldn't do that to them. I'm going to go in with some of these tubes and the shrimp. So I bought shrimp, and I bought it wild caught, and I bought big ones. Peeling and deveining little shrimp, I got better things to do with my life. So I bought big ones. And what I did was I took the shells and I made stock because the flavor is in the shells most of the time. So we're going to use that in the beverage, but that's the shrimp that went in here. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is take this beautiful cilantro around here. Oh my God, the cilantro, you can't. I can smell it from a mile away. And I know cilantro is very polarizing. It's 55-45, depending on the day, who likes cilantro and who hates cilantro and who would never, ever even be in a household with kind of like the way you feel with parsley.
No, cilantro's in the same family, so they're both gross.
Well, I love the smell. I love the taste. I mean, if I'm making a dish like this, cilantro is definitely going in it. But I'm doing it here, so if you wanted to leave the cilantro out.
Oh, I thought that one.
Up to you. But I'm definitely mincing some cilantro. And in goes the cilantro. The next thing I'm going to do is put in some, before I actually squeezed out the limes, I took the zest. I recommend before you do that because by the time you zest those limes, good luck with that, Chuck. That's not happening really. So I'm going to, I love zest of citrus. So that's going in. And then I'm going to go in with the chocolo, hominy, whatever you want to call it. That keeps me from losing too much weight. And then I'm going to healthfully salt this. Don't look. But this is diamond crystal salt. It takes 4 times as much of this to equal table salt. So, the 4 little handfuls that you saw were not really what everyone else does. And then I'm going to take some of from my beverage that I'm going to make, I'm going to take a little bit of this tomato and I'm going to go over the top. So this is actually tomato with jalapeno that I did in the food processor. Because we learned from episode 1, machines make a lot of noise.
They do.
And when you run the machine and you're trying to talk, no one knows that you're talking. Nope. Imagine that. So I got for the tiger's milk, I got some tomato. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. It's full of vegetables. and seafood. And who doesn't want this? I mean, I can't, unless you really just don't even want to ever feel healthy or feel good about yourself. I don't know. I can't be friends with you. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful.
It's much more complex than mine. Mine's been done for
vegetables and I can tell you the one thing I want to do, and if I could have sugar, and I can't, so forgive me. Please don't judge. I cannot have sugar, okay? There are other sugar substitutes. This is the one I use. This is just sucralose and drops. If you can tolerate sugar, I would recommend agave nectar. That would be I can get it around here in a lot of places. When we were upstate, agave nectar. What's agave? Anyway, I'm going to do just because, the Italian culture teaches us agrodolce, a little sweet, a little sour. So just do a little bit of sweet to balance out the sour that's in here. And honest to goodness, this is a lean and green. You could do like a full entire soup bowl of this, and that's your meal. And you know what? You feel great.
Yes.
You feel so good. And that's really what it's all about. It's about feeling good. It's about having energy. It's about not being depressed. I mean, you get done eating a fried donut or whatever it is, the guilty pleasure. Is it really? Because for a day and a half, you just want to crawl into bed. Yep. Is it worth that? To me, no. I'm going to say as a health coach, my coaching technique is do it. I can fix it. But did you really want to do that bad that you were worth giving up a day of your life that you'll never get back because you did it? And when we take people off bad food and they learn to recognize what doesn't go so good, recognize it. Get rid of it. Stop doing it.
Right.
The negative feedback loop comes into play. The child that gets reprimanded because your mom spanked you because you went into the road and you could have gotten hit by a car. Okay. I shouldn't probably do that again. Same kind of thing, right?
Right. Yep.
So, bon appetito.
Okay, let's put us both together. Mine's, like I said, not as complex, but
oh my God, it's so good. And that little bit of sucralose, oh, right over the top. Right over the top. And I got a beverage for you.
That's it.
Because I got a lot of ingredients that I just made. So what I'm making for you, because your brother and your son and your nephew all decided to lose their pancreas. You, on the other hand, thought you'd switch it up a little bit and just have autoimmune hepatitis. Okay, your liver's just going to fail.
What are you going to tell you? What am I going to tell you?
Way to go, daughter of mine. Let me grab my tomato.
That's what happens. I don't know.
I just used up all that I had set aside for my. Anyway, so what I did was I went ahead of time with the food processor because we realized early on that the machines make too much noise. So what I've got is tomato. Oh, and I want to tell you, I did not buy tomato juice. And I'll tell you why I didn't buy tomato juice, because I'd never had it before. And I didn't know what it was going to taste like. And honestly, at the end of this episode, I'm going to try and consume all of this and be authentic. So not ever having this tomato product, I thought, I'm from New York and we grew tomatoes and I'm kind of a tomato snob. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have a tomato that I really like. And I've had DOP, which is, the benchmark of what comes from Italy as the San Marzano. And I've opened those from a store brand and I've opened one from a brand name. There's nothing the same. You can't just say San Marzano is the most amazing, because they're not all amazing. Some of them are amazing. Some of them are a flat out failure. So this was one that I got from Whole Foods and it came recommended and it's very, very good. Not saying it's the only one. I love Cento. Cento just came in at 3 times the price of this guy. So I went with this guy. So I'm making my beverage with a blended out version of what came out of that can. Now, my very, very good friend, Lars, do you remember Lars from the restaurant, the mixologist? Lars, the lounge lizard? Oh, yeah. She's Italian, but she looks really Greek, really long hair. Beautiful, beautiful woman. She was a mixologist. You would know her if you saw her. Anyway, she won a Bloody Mary contest by taking these little tomatoes and roasting them, blistering them out, peeling them, and then she made her Bloody Mary from the blistered out August tomatoes from New York and killed it. Best Bloody Mary I ever had. So anyway, to her credit, I'm just taking tomatoes and I blended them down and I blended some jalapenos in there raw. I seeded them and raw. And what I'm going to do is go in with some lime juice because I have it from, before. I don't know how much. I don't know, whatever. And then I've got the shrimp stock because, shrimp cocktail, right? We all like shrimp cocktail. So I'm going to go in with enough shrimp stock to kind of thin it out. And then I'm going to add a little Worcestershire because Worcestershire is very complicated. It's got, if you ever read the back of Worcestershire, it's like
I know everything.
Vinegar, molasses, sugar, but it's got anchovy, garlic. Oh God, so many good things. I love it. Not a lot of brand name or mixes that I really, really like, but that's one of them. And this is the next one that I really, really, really like is Old Bay. And you can find versions of this even on Spice Sage, but I love that this has got all the salt you'd ever want. Celery salt, garlic salt, all kinds of salts. This is one you definitely want in your cupboard. You absolutely want it. And then, I mean, you could do Frank's. I like Frank's too, but this is the classic, and I had it, and it's oh so very hot. But I do really, really, really like it. I'm not a mixologist, Lars, like you are, so I'm not going to do the shaky thing because it goes all over my kitchen because I really suck at it. Yep. But this is really good, but needs a little more. And what I also want to do, and this was shared with me by one of the whitest boys I've ever known. I love him dearly. Jimmy Morrison turned me on. Yeah, love it. I'm going to do a little bit of this. Jimmy, thank you, my friend. I'll never be the same. Adobo. God, help us if you don't have that. If you have a problem like you do with salt, please pick the one without MSG. Please.
You're actually not even supposed to use salt. You're not even supposed to use salt substitutes.
I know. That's that. So I got a little glass, and it's got some cilantro and a little jalapeno. Just celery because you don't really like it. No. It just tells people what's in it. It's got cilantro and it's got jalapeno, and that is my
beautiful. I'm jealous.
I'd share it with you.
I know, I wish you could. Well, enjoy. It is Halloween party time.
Oh, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Gotta go. We have to get Baby Yoda ready and Omega from Fortnite doing his whatever they do. I don't know what it is.
Little thingy. I got a kick out of the bonbons that I saw with the cabbage, the little Brussels sprouts covered in chocolate. Unlike what we did in our episode, whatever number it was. But yeah.
Tony sent that. Yeah, I thought he made it. I was like, "What are you doing, dude?
What are you doing? You can make hate crimes, and your whole street's going to be on fire."
All right. Well, show us your dish one last time, and we will go.
Tell us what you like. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what you'd like for us to Halloween.
Yes. Love you guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Ciao.